Well, good morning, everybody. This is Brett Zockman, Zach, founder of BeMen, and you know what time it is because it's Friday, which means it's Facebook Live time in Danny's studio. And sitting to my right is one of my favorite men in the whole damn world. How you doing, Greg Dyer?
I'm good, man. How are you, brother?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you again.
We're going to break it down, and you know what? I love how this works out. You know, scheduling changes, this, that, and the other. So a few weeks ago, we were none other than talking to a 7th degree black belt about mental toughness. Can't pick it better than that. So this morning, we're going to be talking about physical fitness with a guy who's a former bodybuilder, yes?
Yes.
And a guy who is a current fitness trainer, so you can't pick it better than that. So kind of leading us up to our conversation today, we wanted to post this question. Does your physical fitness impact your mental health?
You know, Zach, I love that question, and it's one of the ones that most of us will ask. It's one of the ones that has permeated my industry, the personal training industry, for the whole time that I've been there. But I've come to find out, I think we're putting the cart before the horse on this one.
Okay.
And
so
I'd like to ask this question: does your mental health affect your physical fitness?
Nice. We should ask an expert about that. And guess what? We've got one sitting here. So way to tee yourself up, brother. So what do you think? So how does your mental health, and that's Danny, by the way, fellas, because we want to interact with you all this morning and see how you're all doing. So
I can see what I'm doing.
Let's reverse that. So the question really ought to be, does your mental health impact your physical fitness?
If I can preface this really quickly.
Do it, man.
In the 30 some odd years that I've been in the fitness industry, and the 15 now as a personal trainer, and training thousands of people and meeting, all those people and working with them and just seeing what was happening.
Okay.
I would have people come in and they would do pretty much everything right.
Okay.
They're training hard, they're working out, they're diligent about that, their discipline's in, their food is at least 80%, of what I've put down for them, and they're still not losing weight. Or they'll lose it, and then they'll put it all back on.
Yeah, the yo-yo, I've heard that happens to a lot of people.
Why do you suppose that happens?
That is a great question. Can I ask you that question?
You can.
See, the thing for me, and don't hate me all now, right? No haters allowed in the BeMen community, men or women. But I have this sick metabolism. You've probably noticed this. I'm this dude that if I don't go to the gym, because muscle outweighs fat,
right, I
actually lose weight, okay? So I don't have the yo-yo issue, but for the rest of America, why the hell do we yo-yo? We're bouncing around.
The interesting thing is it really doesn't have anything to do with whether you are what you would call an ectomorph. There's 3 different body types. There's ectomorphs, endomorphs, and mesomorphs.
That sounds very
complicated.
Basically,
you've got, in a nutshell, you got people that are going to generally not have a problem with weight. You have some people that are going to maybe have a little bit of problem with weight, and then you're going to have the mesomorphs, which are the athletic type. You most likely, like the sprinters and stuff like that.
Got it.
They're going to look like, the Greek gods or whatever.
Okay. Gotcha.
Apollo, right. And it doesn't matter what body type you are about this principle. It didn't matter. I mean, some ectomorphs will put on body weight with this. Some endomorphs will lose weight, because of this. And it's the stress that we are under. It's the stress that we're putting in our daily lives, our thought processes, everything that we think about ourselves, we think about the world around us, how we use that to now create our reality around us. And a lot of us are taking that stress, and our bodies are interpreting it in a way as to say, hey, look, we've got to protect.
Fight or flight, right?
Right.
Adrenaline. Okay.
So what we're looking at is either going to be a fight or flight thing.
Right.
We'll either, the stress will cause us to think, our bodies to think, hey, we've got to protect, we've got to move fast.
Okay.
Lose the weight, speed up the metabolism, lose the weight. Boom.
Okay.
And burn that fat. Or the other way around, it's going to perceive a stress and a threat as if maybe there's not enough food, or it's too cold or something like that, and the body will then switch on, okay, we got to slow down the metabolism, we need to store.
We need to pack stuff in,
right,
literally.
Right. So the stress will do that. And then, of course, there's all the emotional parts of this whole thing. I mean, how long? It's a chronic situation. Yeah, our stress, our fear in an acute situation is fine.
Okay.
In a chronic situation like we get in, where we're constantly thinking about, hey, I suck, I'm fat, I don't look good, my husband doesn't like me, my wife doesn't like me, or whatever, I suck at my job, or any of these things that come up. I'm not big like Greg, or I'm not muscular, I'm not attractive like Zach, or whatever. I mean, it's just all of this stuff. We're comparing ourselves to others. We don't fit in. We don't feel like we're good enough, and just the daily stress chronically over time.
So it's starting here, and
Right.
then it's going downstairs, right?
Right.
The elevator goes downstairs. All right, so one other little confession I want you all to know, because we always judge books by their cover, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, this is how we are, instant gratification, microwave society. So here's what I want to tell you all. Yeah, I do have this lean fit body. Yeah, I do have this sick metabolism. But what Greg just touched on is something you wouldn't know looking at the cover of this book. For literally like 25 years now, since all the way back in college, I go to the gym and I get pissed off a lot. I get pissed off because I look at a guy like you and I immediately go back to a football field when I was in high school and college and getting the you-know-what crap kicked out of me because I couldn't get on enough weight, right? And I wasn't going to do the juice.
Right.
So I was just trying to do it with diet and do it with weights. But so even folks, you know, somebody who looks like he's got his poop in the group, and here I am, and I go in, and I'm so frustrated at all these other bigger guys than me because Zach can't get big. So what do you think's going on physical fitness-wise? Why is it so important for men? Let's talk
Physical
about
fitness?
Yeah, physical fitness in our physical bodies. Why, in your experience, why is that so important for men and our psyches?
I think that it's one of those things where we build upon successes. Our confidence levels will build upon that. So we start having that incremental success in the gym. Maybe you've hit a new personal record, or maybe you just got to the gym. Hey, I made it. You know?
Yeah, showing up is half the battle, isn't it?
Right. You know, I'm off the couch, I'm in the gym, I'm working out, and
There
you
you
can
go.
feel good about that later. And I think that that's an important part too. Do we reward ourselves for the little steps? Because that's going to help build that confidence.
Do you help your clients
I
build
do.
in reward systems?
I do.
Ah, that's good. I like that.
Yes.
Now let's shift it because we're inclusive. For those of you who don't know, and maybe you're just new to BeMen, we have almost 650 members, but 30% of those members are females. These are wonderful women who are supporting our efforts. So let's flip it over. Physical fitness, is it tougher for men or tougher for women?
I believe that it's going to be the same.
Okay.
We're all humans. Our bodies are basically going to operate
Similarly?
kind of
Like
similar.
aren't we all like 60% water or 80% water or whatever that is?
75%, something
Okay,
like that. I guess
yeah.
it depends on who you're talking about.
Gotcha.
We all have muscle, we all have bone, we all have all of this stuff. Our abilities to put on muscle as men is a little bit
Gotcha.
greater than women, and that just has to do with things like testosterone levels and so forth, and we're just built for that.
Now, I'm glad you brought up that word because I've heard something, and maybe you can corroborate this. I've heard that guys our age, right, you get into your middle age years, your 40s, let's say, and I'm hearing that there's a testosterone problem in America for men. Is this true?
It is, and as we age, naturally the testosterone levels will decline.
Okay.
Now you could mitigate that process by taking care of yourself, spending time in the gym,
Getting
working
physical.
out, getting physical. The thing that's really cool about the moving of weights or doing physical work is it's going to ask your body to have to rebuild the tissue that you just tore up. And one of the
Right.
things that's going to happen is a little more boost of testosterone is going to kick in and have
To
that
help
happen. Right.
Okay.
And
To
if
help rebuild.
we support that with some, some nutrition, make sure that we're feeding the body right and we're taking care of this thing.
Yeah.
Because the stress levels are going to shift all that too.
We've been joking for a little while that the most important muscle in your body is in between your earlobes, huh?
Yeah, you should forget about that one.
Yeah, we forget about that all
You
the time.
should forget about it.
Yeah. So, all right, well, so let's expand this a little bit. So we're talking a little bit about men. We're talking a little bit about women. Have you heard of this issue called obesity in America?
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's the great obesity epidemic, right? But I've been thinking this through, and I'm like, really? Like, do we have an obesity problem, or do we maybe just, like, have a self-control problem? What do you see as a professional? Because I'm not the professional you are interacting with the public in this vein.
I kind of see it as a perfect storm
Okay.
that's happened in the last 20 some odd years.
So what built up the storm for us?
The storm, obviously the stress levels that I was talking about
Right.
before, and they've just continued to go unchecked. We're not dealing with them. We see that squirting out all over in different places, whether it be, unfortunately, the mass shootings or, even down to the weight loss issues or suicide issues in our society, men and women. And one of the things is that, like I talked about in the beginning, about how our stress levels are telling our body what to do and shifting hormone levels that we have that control things like cortisol and adrenaline, and when that gets in a chronic state, boom. The other part of that is the thing about the food and the food industry and the stuff that we're being told to eat. It was interesting, somewhere in the 90s, the federal government put out that nice food pyramid. You remember that one?
Yeah, yeah, and like Maslow's chart on how to
yeah,
eat
well,
food.
basically.
The nutrition stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it put grains down at the bottom,
yeah,
most important
right.
part, and then fats up at the top. And,
I remember seeing that when I was a kid.
Well, that set up an eating pattern that got us eating more grains, more carbohydrates, a lot of empty ones as well, because we just put grains in as whole. So cereals, breads, and everything, and just went whole hog. I remember back in the 90s when we were sitting there and bagels were considered, a health food. That was the dietary thing.
Health food.
Right,
Yeah.
when we were eating. And we stayed away from things like peanut butter and bacon and things like that, because, and then you had all the explosion of the fat-free stuff, and oh my God. But all of that stuff, we were eating more sugar, which was adding to the problems with our endocrine system, our
do you think that's part of what's led to, I don't suffer from it, but there's a lot of people that, the whole gluten thing.
That's a different story, and that's probably a whole show on itself.
Okay, well, we'll get into nutrition the next time. We'll just keep to the physical body. All right, so we're working through these issues. So what about with physical fitness and the people that you're training? What do you see? Physical fitness is body image. And whether you're a man or a woman, I know I've asked men in workshop, hey, you look in the mirror after you take the shower and you're shaving. Do you like what you see? Do you love what you see? Do you maybe even hate what you see looking back at you? What do you think's going on there for people, when we think about physical strength in men or perhaps women and their body image? Is that a big deal?
I think that we both have issues with that.
Okay.
I think that our society kind of tells us what we're supposed to look like.
Aren't they lovely about that?
It's relatively obvious with women, and in the fact that we've got the newsstand magazines that are all there, showing this perfect female body.
Exactly.
We've got models and everything, and I know we've addressed that pretty good so far in the fact that, hey, women, these are photoshopped. These are also women that have, that's what they do. They've done for the last 6 months or whatever to get ready for that photo shoot or get ready for that role in that movie or whatever it is, and that's not what they look like all the time. And we're comparing ourselves to that, and we're being told this is what you need to look like. And that's starting to come out, and we're starting to see women are starting to back off a little bit, and we're seeing a difference in that. However, the side of it for men has not necessarily been addressed.
Yeah.
And we've been told that there's an ideal male physique.
Absolutely.
And it's generally, if you think about any of the super in shape football players or super in shape, let's say, a fireman or whatever. I mean,
the firefighter couch
super
catalog.
Masculine image.
Yeah, exactly.
That we're supposed to be
Gotta
like.
have a 12-pack.
And most of us aren't. Right, 6-pack on your 6-packs. Kind of.
Exactly.
Most of us aren't going to look like that. Hey, you know what? I've had a 6-pack maybe 6 or 7 times in my life. They're fun.
You've been in the industry for 30 years. It's
fun to get there, but it's for the most part pretty unsustainable.
So now, in the work that you were doing, you were a power lifter or you were a bodybuilder? Because I understand that those are two totally separate things. You were one or the other or both?
I was a bodybuilder first.
Okay.
I always strove for the strength thing. I wanted to be strong, not just look strong. So when bodybuilding came to its end, and I just progressed into lifting, seeing how much more I could lift.
Okay, so you kind of transitioned out of the bodybuilding into kind of the powerlifting.
It was a natural progression more than anything.
So I've heard a couple of stories, and I'm hoping you can help corroborate something, because we all look at that and think, oh, these are the super fit freaks, right? And I heard some stories about taking, like, the old cliche of even a good thing isn't a good thing anymore when you take it to an extreme. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I was hearing stories like, hey, you start taking in massive intake of foods, build yourself up, but then you strain yourself down like 2 weeks before a competition, and you literally get rid of liquid altogether and almost starve your body to striate the muscles. Was I hearing some stuff that's accurate?
I was probably at my unhealthiest on stage as a bodybuilder.
Okay. Pause. Did you all hear that? the paragon, right? Men or women on the stage. These are the people who were like, if I could only look like Incredible Hulk here, who was on stage. And you're telling me that was when you were your unhealthiest, when you were on stage, being photographed and being judged for your physical fitness.
My body looked great.
Okay.
But
so you looked awesome.
To get there, and mind you, I mean, I had a good time doing it. I wouldn't change it. But I was, at that moment, I was probably the most depleted. Depleted of calories, depleted of water, depleted of nutrients.
Okay.
To get to that place, depleted of sleep. You know, I was just...
So your body was not thanking you?
No.
Or your mind?
No, and I was trying
or your psyche.
And I'm trying to force it into doing things that it probably didn't want to do.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a little bit of too much of a good thing isn't a good thing anymore. Perhaps.
You know, it's just like anything else. Any endeavor that we do, if we get into the place, we're going to take it to a place where most people aren't going to.
Yeah.
How long are you going to stay there?
Right.
Are you going to touch it and then come back?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or are you going to just try to stay and keep the accelerator down and keep going?
There you go. Push it. And we're awesome at that, aren't we? We men. I mean, we just don't listen to our physical bodies at all, right? I get to a point where I'm tired in the afternoon, it's 3 o'clock, and I could take a 30-minute nap. And instead, I grab a Monster Energy, slam that down, because I got about 8 more hours in my 16-hour day that I got to push through. Body be damned, right?
I have bodybuilder friends of mine that I came up with and I knew all these years that have had, you know, come down with kidney disease, that have been on dialysis, that have had kidney replacements, that have come up with diabetes. A lot of them that have actual, you know, structural issues, you know, whether it be joint problems or lower back problems or muscular issues
because of the stress,
all the weight and just taking
it
to the edge. I got to a point with the strongman stuff that I was doing where I went home and I had just shooting pain down my legs one day, and I went, okay, this is it. That was the last of the heavy.
Wow.
I still have, you know, issues in my lower back and some of my joints because of all of it.
I appreciate you getting open and honest about that, man. Yeah. That helps us out, right? Because we could, the rest of us normal Joes, could look at you all and think, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be.
I'm a normal Joe.
I appreciate that, man. So as a normal Joe, as we're wrapping up here this morning, what would be, do you think, the one thing that you could pass from 30 years of experience to the other men in our community or other men that are going to come on board our community about trying to master their physical fitness? Is there a tip? I know there's not a trick, right?
There is.
Is there?
Yeah.
All right.
Do what you love. Just get doing something physical and keep doing it.
Oh, I like that. So you mean I don't have to spend 40 hours in the gym just because that's where the weights are?
Do what you love to do. If you don't like the gym,
don't
go to the gym.
Okay.
You know, it's
beautiful.
Too much stress.
That's awesome. That's a gift right there, gentlemen. All right, so now we've got our one tip. So as we wrap it up, what about a myth?
Ow! I got a couple of them.
Oh, myths. All right. It's a package deal today.
This is for men.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You know, this is the myth. Myth number one. Our metabolism's slow as we age. No, it don't. They don't. It doesn't. What happens if we just stop moving and the stress that we were talking about?
So our self-story is our metabolism is going to slow down, so I naturally slow down.
You keep moving.
Then my testosterone drops. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
You keep moving, and your metabolism's going to do just fine, and it will stay up.
Nice.
If you know, and then of course address the mental issues. I'm sure you and Chris talked about that and ways to alleviate that. And then the other myth.
What's the other one?
You know what? I had it. It was the testosterone one. You know, whether or not, and we did address that, whether or not, you know, and you can, you know, mitigate that effect of the testosterone dropping off. So, and by just, you know, moving and taking care of your body. Yes, it's gonna roll off, but how dramatically is that going to roll off, and what's that going to do to you? And
so we don't have to accept the stories.
And you don't need the little blue pill.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, I think you might have just teed us up for some stuff upcoming. That is beautiful. Well, thanks for your time today, man. This has been awesome. So, wrapping it up, and you know what? I'm going to thank J.B. Brayton right now, live, because at the age of 48, he challenged me and asked me if I still enjoy playing quarterback. And believe it or not, 20 years on the couch, came back off the couch to start playing some apparently fairly competitive flag football. You know, testosterone drops be damned, slowing down the metabolism be damned. Now, I was sore for like hell for 90 hours or so, and I needed a 90-minute massage to work some stuff out, some muscles I didn't think I had. But you're never too old to do something. So, wrapping it up today, we want to talk to you about a couple events that are coming up because we want you to be with us. Join us. Join this brotherhood, gentlemen, right? Sitting at home, isolating, being that lone wolf, the island in the hurricane. As Greg alluded to, there is a lot of stress. It's not crap happens on the bumper sticker, it's life happens, and we want to do life together with you. So coming up this Saturday, there's the Radical Love Summit. Anybody having any challenges with your romantic partnerships? Like to expand a little bit, expand your intimacy of self and others? And next Wednesday, Cyclone Bomb be damned. We are launching Beers, Bros, and Bucks in Denver. We've already done it 3 times in Colorado Springs. We've yet to do it in Denver because we had the anti-blizzard last time. So, Wednesday, May 1st, near Park Meadows. We're going to be at Rock Bottom Brewery off of County Line in the Red Rocks room. Be there, man. Danny's going to be there live. We're going to mix it up, fellas. We're going to go an inch wide and a mile deep. And then, coming up May 16th, I want to tee you up for the Man Map. It's going to be a 3-panel discussion talking about the lived experiences of the stressors that us men face. And we're going to fill up the Hyatt in the Inverness area, the Hyatt Hotel there. Love for you to come, men, women, kids, teenagers, age appropriate, 16 plus, because we're going to go deep on that one. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, always be extraordinary.